Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Just want to let you know today is the final day of the Juneteenth sale. So you can still get your products for 45% off on Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. And I have been getting orders from all three shops. So today is the final day. You have until 11:59 p.m. to get your 45% discount. All right. So now what we're going to talk about is Donald Trump's alleged peace deal with Iran. They were supposed to sign it and make it official Friday. Well, the Strait of Hormuz is closed again. And it's because Israel violated the terms of the agreement. Part of that, they were supposed to stop attacking Lebanon. And Israel, they unalived several people in Lebanon. So Iran closed up the Strait of Hormuz again. Now, get this, Donald Trump is screaming and hollering and talking about the US is going to take it over and run it and charge people. No. You know what, Iran? I would strongly advise you not to let a country that's insolvent run the Straits of Hormuz, because they're going to make the Strait of Hormuz insolvent too. These people can't be trusted to run anything. I would strongly advise everybody worldwide, don't let these people run nothing. They ran America into the ground. The country is insolvent. The Social Security is insolvent. So, do you want that person to run the Straits of Hormuz? Hell no. Hell no. Okay, all they're going to do is get mad, but that is proof you are not capable of running nothing. And then Donald Trump talking about they're going to charge people and all. Donald Trump, those folks ain't going to let you run nothing. You can't even run America. And how you going to take it over from Iran when you can't even beat Iran? Give me a break. You have to be insane to let Donald Trump run anything, and the damn country he runs right now is insolvent. Woo! I see they got jokes. So, anyway, y'all, that's what he's hooping and hollering about. Oh, the US will take it over. No, Donald Trump, the only thing people are going to do is laugh at you if you talk about taking stuff over, because they already know y'all can't run nothing. You can't run nothing. The whole globe knows America is insolvent. Okay, you're still sitting up in somebody's face like you got a legitimate point in telling them you're going to run stuff. I mean, for real, y'all couldn't run my finances. And I'm one person, and I sure wouldn't let you do it. Looking at what you did to America, forget it. So, y'all, we're going to get into this. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. And he's mad at Iran, but really, Donald Trump, you should be mad at Israel. I don't know what you're mad at Iran for. They told you what the terms were. You seem to be in agreement with the term, and y'all electronically signed it, and you were going to sign it in person this coming Friday. And then Israel attacked Lebanon. But you're mad at Iran. They already told you what they're going to do if Israel did not stop attacking Lebanon. But Donald Trump's mad at Iran. Yeah, look at the irony of that. Thank you for the ones, everybody.
Panic. Iran's military has announced today that they are closing the Strait of Hormuz again. Reason being because of the Israeli attacks on Lebanon that killed 16 people, including two kids. They said the U.S. is bad faith because they just signed this ceasefire deal with the U.S. and part of the deal is supposed to be a truce where there's no fighting, no shooting from both sides. They say U.S. ain't upholding the truce, so they're gonna close the Strait of Hormuz again. Now the U.S. Central Command said Iran don't run the Strait of Hormuz, and it won't be closed. Ships gonna continue to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and they're gonna watch it close and make sure it remains that way. Now, Vice President J.D. Vance already on the plane heading over to Switzerland to meet with Iran tomorrow to do some more negotiations. So hopefully they can sort this out. But as of right now, things on shaky ground. Everybody's scared that the market's about to tank again because we already know the Strait of Hormuz, when it's closed, things don't look good. If you didn't know, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Love y'all. Be safe out there. Big Ducat. You already know. Thank me later.
Iran has responded to Trump's latest threats to destroy their entire country and is also rejecting reports that claim there's been an agreement reached involving their enriched uranium. This comes after Iran decided to close the strait yet again yesterday after Israeli forces continued an all-out assault in Lebanon. During a phone call with Fox News, Trump said he told Iranian officials directly that if they close the strait, they won't have a country, saying, quote, "You won't even make it back to your effing country. We'll take over the rest of the country." But now Iranian officials have fired back, saying that Trump cannot speak to Iran in, quote, "the language of threats and deadlines." They warned that Trump's latest remarks could compromise the entire MOU. Iran's also rejecting new reports that claim there's been an agreement reached involving lowering Iran's enriched uranium, saying the nuclear file is not even on the agenda for this round of talks, adding that none of these discussions will happen whatsoever until the U.S. implements all of its commitments. These include getting Israel out of Lebanon, removing the naval blockade, oil sanctions waivers, and the full release of Iran's frozen funds. Additionally, Lindsey Graham said he spent over 4 hours with Trump on Friday and says that now he believes if this deal fails, Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force, saying that if Iran contests control over Hormuz by the United States, will then obliterate them.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed. They closed it today. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. Wait, let's look at the timeline. So on Wednesday, Trump and Iran signed a deal in France with President Macron as a witness. And it's like, all right, we're about to negotiate the nuclear talks. The next day, which is Thursday, JD is supposed to go to Switzerland. He don't board that plane. Instead, he looks at the reporters and he says, tell that blue and white country they keep fucking with my negotiations. I am not going to be their ally no more. Well, really, he said, you need to stop threatening your most powerful ally because it's looking really shaky for you. The reason why JD doesn't go to Switzerland is because they keep bombing the south of Lebanon, the blue and white country. Now, we look at Friday, right? A ceasefire comes about because not only did JD say that to the reporters, Trump reposted something on Twitter or True Social, whatever the fuck he be on. And he said, and I quote, didn't say shit actually. He reposted a post that was a news article. Not only did JD say that, but Trump reposted a news article titled, "BB's presidency in the blue and white country literally hangs on whether what the U.S. does or not." So I saw Trump reposted that. That's a motherfucker Gemini man. He petty. He says, see? And that was a warning to say, see, we decide if you get reelected over there. Stop playing. And because BB was scared, the blue and white country decided to do a ceasefire in the morning with Hezbollah. And then continuously bombed South Lebanon after agreeing to a ceasefire. Whilst agreeing to the ceasefire and then continuously attacking them, they killed 4 of their own soldiers. They're fucking dumb. Saturday morning, today, they closed the Strait of Hormuz. That deal was supposed to permanently keep the strait open. And I can explain to you how it works. The Strait of Hormuz itself, think about it as like a 3-lane highway. 1 big ass lane in the middle, 2 small lanes on the south and in the north. The big lane in the middle got like 800 mines in it. It needs to be cleared out. It is closed. People aren't going through that. Iran is trying to shut down the other outskirt lanes too. Even though ships are flowing through Oman's southern waters, they might not be flowing through Iran's. So that's where the issue lies right now. But no one can use the main highway, if that makes sense, regardless if Iran were to open it or not. But we need to really think about what J.D. Vance said to the blue and white country, because that was the most direct ordering we have seen from U.S. government to the blue and white country. And they did not listen to those orders. And I wonder what consequences will be coming about because they did not listen to J.D. And they continuously bombed southern Lebanon today, which is why the Strait of Hormuz is closed. The thing is, Iran did send their negotiators to Switzerland. J.D. Vance is in Switzerland now, but they're saying like they don't want the Strait open anymore because the blue and white country is not listening to anybody at this point. They're going rogue. And it's important to you because if the blue and white country doesn't stop bombing Lebanon, the Strait of Hormuz is not going to open. Gas is already $4.55 on average. Inflation is above 4%. And the new Fed chair of the Federal Reserve is deciding whether to increase rates to fight the inflation that the war caused, cut rates to stimulate a slow economy, or keep it steady and hope that a deal is going to be produced that'll allow the oil companies and these big corporations to be relieved of all of the extra money that they've had to put out because of this goddamn war. And like I said, is war really over? Who knows? Because your gas is still $4. Lebanon's on fire. Iran's telling their people they ain't talking. Now we got that. Now the government, now the U.S. government threatening the blue and white government. It's looking like a shit show. Have a great day.
It has been an erratic start, fraught with misunderstanding and now outright confusion. Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz had only just supposedly restarted when the captains on board the 500 or so vessels still stuck there learned Iran had closed it again. In a statement broadcast on Iranian television, the Qatam Al-Anbiya Central HQ, Iran's top military command, blamed what it called the continuous and ongoing ceasefire violations by the Zionist regime in southern Lebanon, and what it sees as Washington's failure to rein Israel in. Kanarit, 40 miles from the border. According to Lebanon's Ministry of Health, Israel's pursuit of Hezbollah today killed at least 20. Israel says it was in response to the Iran-backed group firing 50 projectiles overnight. Lake Lucerne, Switzerland, where Iranian and US officials are supposed to be meeting to nail down the detail of a permanent peace deal. The 14-point memorandum of understanding signed on Wednesday, which demanded an end to fighting on all fronts, already under pressure, with the ink barely dry. US Vice President J.D. Vance confirming that envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are already in Switzerland ahead of planned talks tomorrow. But he played down speculation earlier today that Iran was about to close the strait, instead concentrating on timelines for demining.
What the MOU contemplates is a 30-day period where we demine the straits, where we open up the traffic there. But no, we're not seeing any evidence that the Iranians are still closing down the Strait of Hormuz. It is going to take some time to clear those mines, though.
Those ships are flowing out of the Hormuz Strait like nobody's ever seen before, actually.
President Trump also spoke earlier to celebrate what many in the world had hoped.
Y'all, Donald Trump is lying. Iran already made the announcement that they have closed the Strait of Hormuz because Israel violated the terms of the agreement. They said it's closed. And Donald Trump is in front of everybody talking about it's opened and the ships are flowing. It's a lie. It's a lie. All you got to do is look. Iran already made the announcement that it is closed because of what Israel did. And Donald Trump is doing what he does all the time, get in front of the cameras and start lying to everybody about what the circumstances are. And no, and then he's like, we're going to take over and run it and we're going to obliterate them. You didn't obliterate them the first time. And you're not going to obliterate them now. And he's always trying to talk trash. And the bottom line is, Donald Trump, you lost the war. There is no way Iran is going to let you take over the Straits of Hormuz. Come on. You know how stupid that would be? And I know Iran can't be that silly where they would let you take over. You can't run nothing. You can't run nothing. You couldn't run your casinos either. So anyway, y'all, let's go on. According to Iran, it's closed. According to Donald Trump, who doesn't run nothing, claims it's the Straits of Hormuz is open and all these ships are going through. I mean, come on. After listening to Donald Trump for the last several months over this war, who you gonna believe? I'm just saying. Let's go on.
Hoped would be a return to pre-war normality in the Middle East, though the facts tell a different story, as they so often do. The 50 ships that did make it through the strait today, a fraction of the usual traffic. While Switzerland's providing the neutral setting to try and resolve Trump's war of choice, his extraordinary spat with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni about a photo he claims she begged for at the G7 last week escalated further.
I don't know why the President of the United States behaves like this towards his allies. It is not the first time. I can only say it is disappointing that he does not show the same determination with the enemies of the West and of the United States, whose leaders he instead treats with far greater indulgence. There is one thing he should remember: neither I nor Italy ever beg.
After Trump doubled down, Meloni posting on Instagram this afternoon, "My popularity is none of your concern. I suggest you focus on yours." Getting the ships moving again through the Strait of Hormuz, ending a war Trump started, the biggest challenge to his presidency to date.
News Nation's Hannah Brent is live at the White House. She's been tracking the situation all day long, and for good reason, Hannah, because things have been changing seemingly hour by hour. Hannah, they really have. But at this hour, what we know is that Vice President Vance is now on his way to Switzerland. He's going to be meeting with the other U.S. negotiators who are already there. And those technical talks with Iran are officially set to start tomorrow. On his way over, Vice President Vance sought to calm some of the concerns about the recent fighting in Lebanon that was creating some major hurdles just earlier today. Because it was earlier this morning when Iran said it was closing the Strait of Hormuz due to Israel's attacks in Lebanon. Iran's Joint Military Command said the U.S. failing to end the war is a clear breach of its commitments, because remember that new memorandum signed just days ago? It says the fighting will stop entirely. Well, Vice President Vance, though, says Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his team have been managing the situation in Lebanon. He insists things there are getting better and slowing down. And U.S. CENTCOM is also disputing Iran's announcement on the Strait. A spokesperson telling Reuters in a statement, Iran does not control the Strait of Hormuz. Traffic continues to flow, and U.S. forces are monitoring the situation to ensure this remains the case. And just today, CENTCOM saying 55 merchant ships passed through the Strait with more than 17 million barrels of oil.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump for more than 20 minutes, and he gave some new insight and reaction about the ongoing talks that are taking place in Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country.
Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So anyway, what you still have no sound? Can anybody hear me? Oh, okay. No, first of all, Donald Trump talking about they're going to take it over and charge toll. Donald Trump, you ain't going to do none of that. You ain't even over in that region. You don't have no control of anything in that region. Now, what would they look like letting you control it and your ass can't run nothing? So anyway, the bottom line is this is one big mess, y'all. People were talking about how the prices of gas went down. Well, honey, wait until Monday come. It's going to shoot right back up. You watch. You watch. It's going to shoot right back up, and everybody is going to be back to square one. See, what Donald Trump, before he negotiates anything, he needs to talk to Israel and get everything straight with Israel. It is counterproductive to do a deal and then you got Israel doing whatever they want. And part of the deal was for them not to do anything to Lebanon, and that's the first thing they did. See, he's going to keep messing up the deals because you know what? He doesn't want them. He doesn't want these deals. He doesn't. That's why every time they come close to signing a deal, Israel does something. And then everything gets backed off and everybody move away from the table. So we shall see what's going to happen. But Donald Trump is claiming the straits is open. All the reports that I've seen says Iran stated it's closed. So even if you got 50 ships through there, that's really not enough. People have been without oil from that region now for what, going on 90 days? So 50 ships going in there is really not enough to do too much of anything. So no matter what, this is one big mess for sure. One big mess. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about, and I got to get a few things set up. So I'm going to do that behind the scenes. So be on the lookout for my next upcoming live. Shalom, family.